Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Macon-Bibb County Board of Commissioners meeting. This is our pre-commission meeting. This is the first one of the new year, so happy 2025 New Year. Today is January the 7th, and the time is shortly after 5 o'clock. I'd officially welcome everyone here and call this meeting to order. I will state for the record, we have two new commissioners that are joining us for our first meeting today. Ms. Donna Bryant, how you doing, Ms. Bryant? Good to see you again today. And also Mr. Joey Hewitt. Glad to have you guys on board. Appreciate you being here on time and ready to go today. So we'll get forward. We'll get started with our meeting. Our first order of business is our approval of the minutes. This is item 2A, the approval of the minutes from the December 16, 2024 special call meeting that we had. Can I get a motion to approve? Motion by Commissioner Wynn. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Howell. Any questions regarding that item? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Next item of business should be something that's familiar to you. This is a final alcohol license denial for the Central Pantry LLC, doing business as King Food Mart located at 635 Walmart Street. As you recall, we voted on this previously in our meeting. The time has expired and there has been no appeal filed on this by the petitioner. So at this time, we entertain a motion to approve that denial. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Clark. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner, who did that? Okay, Commissioner Wynn, I'll take the lady over the man this time. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Will be sent to consent agenda that we have at 6 o'clock today. Going to move on to appointments to authorities, boards, and committees. This is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission reappointing Tim Jones to the Macon-Bibb County Planning and Zoning Commission. I think most of them in this room are familiar with Tim Jones. He is already on the Planning and Zoning Commission, doing a great job there, and I spoke to their director, and they would like for Mr. Jones to be reappointed, and I would also agree with that appointment. So this time, we entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Wynn, second by Commissioner Howell. Any discussion regarding this matter? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Will be sent to consent agenda. Item 4B is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission reappointing Commissioner Raymond Wilder, I know that guy, to serve as a member of the Retirement Committee for the Macon Pensions and Retirement Systems Division A Plan. Commissioner Wilder, you sure you want to be reappointed to that position? Okay.
I'd like to hear a little bit about what life choices brought him.
He's starting the new year out. I thought he had a new resolution not to make any promises like that, but we appreciate your willingness to serve on that committee. It's certainly a very valuable committee and can be challenging at its time, as we may know. So at this time, we entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Raymond Wilder as on that retirement committee. Motion by Commissioner Wilder. We have, Commissioner Wynn. Both have W's. Second by Commissioner Bailey. Any discussion regarding that item? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Will be sent to consent agenda. I apologize for sniffling tonight, but I've got this cold I can't get rid of. We have contracts and purchase orders for approval. Item 5A. That's a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission to approve a change order in the amount of $190,000 to the Lake Hopisofke Campground renovations agreement with Warren Associations to provide for new campground tables and chairs for that. As you recall, we did, was it a ribbon cutting, a groundbreaking just a few weeks back, and as part of that, we had to come back and with some additional funding requests to make sure we could do all the items that we discussed that day for the tables and chairs and things of that nature out there. So Commissioner Wilder, that's your district. Would you like to make that motion? Thank you, Commissioner Wilder. We'll take that as a motion. We have a second. Second by Mayor Pro Tem Clark. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Will be sent to consent agenda. Item B is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission to approve a change order in the amount of $50,000 to purchase order from Meade Road Transfer Station to pay for tipping dumping fees. As you recall, we do a lot of blight removal and also mostly the convenience centers that we have. Conventions on my mind. Convenience centers that we have. It's hard to estimate how much debris that people are going to bring to those convenience centers that we have. So we have to kind of estimate back around we did our budget time on how much we would be spending for dumping fees. We did that this last year. This is to bring us current in the $50,000. We've already spent the money for there, but then we're $50,000 short of paying for those tipping and dumping fees at that transfer station. We'll come back to you again for the the mid-year adjustments for some additional monies on there, but this will bring us current on that. That's what this 50,000 is for. So this time we entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Wilder, second by Commissioner Wynn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item C is a resolution making Bibb County Commission to authorize the mayor to execute an independent contractor agreement with McElroy, Inc. for asphalt paving and resurfacing services in amount of $1,707,882,616 to be paid from the LMIG GDOT grant funds and 2018 SPOS funds. As you recall, we've been working through this process for quite a while to get our LMIG funds done. We presently have a scan going on that will give us the rankings for our new roads that will be re-rated and decide what a priority is for that. We approved some of these roads back in 2022, but you know it lags a little bit behind. And because of the savings that we had, we added some additional roads to that. So we'll begin the process. I will say that this is the first time that we've had a new company come to the table that I'm aware of. McElroy doesn't seem familiar, but they also met all the legal qualifications for there. They graded out very well, and I'm happy that we're getting some new people to the table. So at this time, Commissioner Wynn, you have a question?
Yeah, just a little question. So now that we're reevaluating the roads, will that change how it's listed? You know, from 1 to 5, one being, I think, the worst.
Right, the grading system will change. It goes from 0 to 100. So it gives us a better disparity because I think 3 of us can probably travel down the same road. You may give it a 5, Paul may give it a 3, and I may give it a 2. But when you have 100, it gives us a little bit closer to the ballpark to seeing what the difference between a 2 and a 3 may be, or a 3 and a 4 may be. So we'll upgrade, we'll have to get with you, and we've got a presentation that'll be coming up on how that's graded, what factors they take into consideration. This new company also has many, many factors that we didn't have before. They also can do things like evaluate the maintenance requirements that you have over many years, a schedule of maintenance that you can have to kind of extend the life of the roads, but also you can put a focus down. You can say, well, I want you to look at the roads that has the spider webs. I want you to look at roads that has the potholes, or they call it alligator crack. Don't ask me what that is, but that's one of the terminologies they use. So you can actually evaluate the roads a lot more precisely than we have before. So I'm excited about that. These are clearing up some of the old roads. Some of these are cul-de-sacs and smaller roads because they're in the area. But as you know, we passed a resolution on a SPOS, and we have a lot of money that we'll be putting together for some roads, hopefully in the SPOS pass in 2025. And this new process will start as soon as we get that scan. Dr. Moffitt, that's going to be what, February, March? Okay, end of March, we're scheduled to get all that down. So we'll get together with commissioners to let you know what that showed, give you a copy of the report, and how we can evaluate that for future distribution.
So some of those old roads that were on there have been taken care of, will come off the list, and we'll start down the list.
Right, these roads here rank anywhere from 4 to 4.6. We started with 5, and we're going in reverse order. Some of those same roads are been reevaluated, so we'll see what that brings for the new ones. So certainly a lot of those roads that might have been 3 before, maybe 5s now. So I'm interested to see what they, and we're saying these numbers based on what we're used to. We know those things were changed. Commissioner Wilder?
Yeah, I'm basically gonna repeat myself from last year, but looking over these roads, and I know we've already talked about them. A lot of them, most of them, are small roads in neighborhoods, cul-de-sacs, only going to affect just a few people. I'd like to see us definitely, when we get the re-ratings and the 2025 SPOS, that everybody that are listening need to realize that this is very important, that we do this continuation. It's not a new SPOS, a continuation by voting on this one that'll be coming up in March. That this is what we've been talking about. We're going to really hit roads hard. In District 6, my biggest concern from everybody that calls me is roads. And I just want to reiterate that and just say that I can understand these people are really going to appreciate it in these cul-de-sacs and all, but it's just a few people. I'd like to see us be more centered on the roads that more people are driving on.
That's a good response. I spoke with Commissioner Howell earlier, who shared a lot of your concerns, and assured him the same thing I'm sure you guys, is that we'll be able to take some larger chunks of roads when we get the new scan in, and hopefully we get a new SPOS pass. But it's very difficult under restraints that we had in the past to do a lot of, we got 1,288 roads, something like that, miles of road to do with only about $700,000 that were budgeted in the previous years. So I appreciate your comments on that, and I look forward to paving the way in Macon. So at this time, we'd entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Wynn, second by Commissioner Bailey. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Going to move on to item D, which is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement with the Macon Transit Authority for a lease of 6,967 square foot of space in a terminal station at an annual rate of $107,326.68, with a 2.54 increase in 2026 for a term expiring April the 30th of 2026 to be paid from Information Technologies. Basically, we in need of new space at the Transit Authority, so we agreed on a short-term lease. These are the conditions of that lease at the Transit Authority, where our IT department currently sits. So instead of going out and creating a new lease somewhere else, we try to consolidate the folks there, and we believe that this is a reasonable lease and a reasonable amount. However, we didn't want to overextend ourselves by committing to 5 or 10 years because those things may change. Do we have any questions on this before I call for a vote? Hearing no questions, I'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Stewart. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Bronson. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to the consent agenda. Moving right along, we're going to go to appropriations and transfers, items 6A, B, and C. Item A is a ordinance of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize a budget transfer with a TAG grant budget in the amount of $95,105 from the federal grant line item to the contract line item to approve changes in the amount of $95,105 to the Southeastern Growers, Inc. purchase order to purchase additional plants and supplies. Who can give me some more information on that? This can be Ms. Davis. I know what it is, but since we're talking about plants and that, I don't want people at home to freak out about the large costs that we have. We have a lot of parts to cover, and also these are grant funds that we're expending.
Hey, okay. This is grant funds that we've already accepted. This was the TAG grant to plant trees in different areas of the county. We've accepted these funds and we put them into one account, and they need to be moved into account to be spent from. So right now they're in their holding account. They need to be moved into account they can be spent from. And then we need to do a change order. We've already bought some trees, but it wasn't nearly enough. And we still have the remaining grant funds, $90-something thousand worth of grant funds that need to be spent on trees. And so that's what we're just spending the grant money for what the grant was intended to do.
Okay, thank you for that information. So we've got the money in our account. We're basically doing a transfer and appropriation for that. So this time we entertain a motion for approval. Commissioner Howell, we have a second? Question? I'm sorry, Commissioner Wynn?
Well,
Let me get a second first. You got a second from who?
Well, go ahead and second. I'll
Have a second? You got a second?
it,
Okay,
and
now
I'll
Commissioner
ask a
Wynn.
question. Where are these trees being planted? Don't know. Okay, just kind of curious because people might ask.
Thank you for that information. We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously to be sent to the consent agenda. Item B is an ordinance of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize a budget transfer within the management budget for the workers' compensation fund claims medical line to risk management insurance liability line amount of $300,000. This is an adjustment for workers' comp claims, is that correct? Okay. This is something we do every year when we try to balance our liabilities and our risks there. So at this time, we entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Wynn, second by Commissioner Bailey. Any further questions? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item C is an ordinance of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to approve a supplemental appropriation from the general fund. This is a fund balance transfer to capital improvements and a total amount of $2 million to provide for purchase and equipping of vehicles for the Bibb County Sheriff's Office. I see our sheriff is here. I expected him to be happy, a little bit happier, smiling there. But this is a large purchase that Sheriff Davis will request for us to do. He's assured me that as soon as he get these vehicles in, they will be properly labeled, equipped, and out on the road, helping to improve our response times, and as we can see here recently, to make sure that people are not out there running the red lights. So we're certainly proud to do that, and we've been in communication with him to get that done ahead of a potential splash that we have coming in. So at this time, we'd ask for a motion to approve this purchase. Motion by Commissioner Stewart. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Bailey. Commissioner Howell?
Yeah, I've gotten several phone calls about this, and so just so the public knows, $2 million sounds like a lot of money when you can buy a car for near nothing. But we all know that police cars aren't near nothing. How many cars will that be?
30 to 35? 20? 20. Well, I was told 30, but well,
Do I hear 30?
I was told 30.
Well, 30, we're looking at, I'm Sheriff Davis, this is potentially to buy 30 new patrol cars. It costs us nearly anywhere from $65,000 to $80,000 to completely outfit a marked patrol car. When you buy it, the vehicles we buy now, just the cars themselves are up between $45,000 and $50,000 a piece. So if somebody can sell us one for near nothing, we could maybe buy, 40 or 50 or 60 cars, but that's just the way it works now. And so with these funds, we're anticipating buying at least 30. We may be able to squeeze in a couple more if we get a good price on the vehicles. But that's typically what it is.
Well, and obviously I knew the answer to it before I asked it, but, I've had people call me and say, well, you can get a fleet Toyota Camry for $20,000. So, well, we're not having Toyota Camrys, and that's not the same thing as a police-equipped vehicle. And people forget, lights cost something, radio costs something, all this other stuff that goes with it. So when you get $2 million to buy cars with, it's not like you're going to get a whole new fleet. I just want to make sure people understand that.
We probably have over 200 cars total throughout the sheriff's office. And so this will just help us to replace some that are just worn out. Some of them have been wrecked. And another thing, we have more people, certainly the more part-time folks now, that we have to have cars to put some of them in. And so we're at a happy circumstance now to where we have some people to put in these cars to where that they can be out there helping with response time, helping with speeders in certain parts of the county, and that sort of thing. So it just costs the money to get it. Now, we are looking at, these are all marked patrol cars. Some of the investigator cars and some of the other unmarked cars, we are looking at some options for some that may not cost quite as much. Something like maybe a Camry, something that is not as rugged or fixed up like a pursuit vehicle, like a sheriff's car, like a police car.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the explanation, because I'm sure that Facebook keyboard warriors are already talking about we're spending $2 million on cars. So I just want them to, when I see that, I can tell them to go back and watch this and hear it straight from the sheriff's lips on what it really costs to have a car.
And we'll be going out seeking bids for these cars. So if somebody wants to sell us one for $20,000 and it meets our needs, we'll certainly consider it.
You'd be excited to get 40 cars, right?
True. Thank you. Thank you,
Sheriff.
Commissioners.
Got one more question here. We also keep the receipts, right? So we know what they cost, and we'll be happy to show anybody that on what we spend. So Commissioner Bailey, on to you.
And yes, Sheriff, for the benefit of our citizens, would you let us know about the fortifications that are required in those particular cars? So we're not just saying that we're going to take a Toyota Camry, any kind of Camry. There's standard fortifications that are required by the state of Georgia that every police vehicle must have. Would you review those fortifications with us, please?
Well, you have what's commonly known in the vehicle is a police package vehicle. It has sort of heavy duty suspension. The seats are more robust. All of that equipment is a little more rugged for the type of work that a police car does. The constant traveling and some of the roads they have to go over. And doing that, and just when you're driving a car 12 hours a day around the clock, it puts a lot of wear and tear on it. Plus the equipment that we add to it. The radios themselves cost $5,000 or $6,000. The mobile data terminals which connects the deputies with all of the technology that we have now, all of these cameras that we have around town, the flock cameras, all of that. The deputy in that patrol car, or the patrol SUV is what we get now, they have access to that so that they can respond quicker and know what's going on. And the other safety features that we put in them, there's just a lot of stuff that goes into a modern patrol vehicle that are really necessary to do the job.
Thank you, Commissioner Bailey. Thank you, Sheriff, for answering that question. We do have a motion and a second, so all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. All right, I see my former Commissioner Elaine Lucas here. She always wants me to ask all of our commissioners, they'll sign off as co-signers for important public safety items. So in her honor today, unless she says something bad about me later, I'm going to do that. So if you have want to be a co-sponsor of that, please let Ms. Ross know, and she'll be happy to put you down. So we always want to show we were united around public safety. We're going to move on to grants, item 7A, and we have two of those grants tonight. This is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Rebuilding Macon. Speaking of Commissioner Lucas, granting a community development block grant in an amount of $141,000. This is something we previously approved, these amounts on grants that we get in, and this is how the company is going to be awarded this money. Thank you, Ms. Jackson, for coming here tonight. This is a formality, but she'll be happy to answer any questions to anyone who would like to ask them. But this time, we can go ahead and start with a motion in a second. And a motion to approve? Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Clark. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn. Any questions?
I'd like to sign on as a co-sponsor for this and the next one.
Sure. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item B is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Rebuilding Macon, Inc., granting a community development block grant in an amount of $60,000 to provide for Rebuilding Macon volunteer youth program that we have here. This is $60,000 similar grant. We've pre-approved, and this is just disbursement of the funds. So at this time, we entertain a motion for approval of it. Motion by, is that Stewart? Bronson? Second by Bailey. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and we sent to consent agenda. Going to move on to item 8A, which is addition changes to Macon-Bibb County Code. This is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission requesting the local legislative delegation introduce legislation to amend Section 10E of the Macon-Bibb County Charter to provide equal term limits for all members of the governing body of Macon-Bibb County. And at this time, bill was sponsored by Mayor Pro Tem Clark, and I'll let him move forward with that.
I put this together over our Christmas break with our county attorneys because I thought enough ink had been spilled about it outside of this body. I figured it might be time for us to talk about it, especially considering we're getting ready to go into the next legislative session up in Atlanta. I think the legislation is pretty straightforward. It addresses the disparities between term limits between all the commissioners. The disparity exists between the chair of this commission, which is the executive officer, the mayor, and the rest of us, the other 9 district commissioners. And I just generally think that it's easier to start and finish projects altogether. And right now, the county charter doesn't allow for that. So this legislation requests that the delegation to our General Assembly address that. And that's all that this does. It does not do it today. This body cannot change our charter in this fashion. But the General Assembly can, with the majority of our local delegation making that decision and pushing it through the body should it be their will. And should this pass today, it will simply be a request from this body saying that that is our will, that they do that this session. So that is what this does very simply. It is not about a certain person or a certain persons. It is about a policy to make sure that all of us are awarded the equal opportunities to serve our neighbors should they choose to send us back. And lastly, I would just like to add that there are term limits still instilled in this should the General Assembly change the charter as this legislation foresees. We will all only be awarded 3 terms, and that's it. So that there is a strong check still that doesn't exist in other legislative bodies and other executive officers around this state, and that is intentional. So I hope y'all will ask for y'all's favorable consideration. And again, this is just a request that the General Assembly do something about this session.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Is that a motion? Got a motion. Can we get a second? We have questions. We know how to do this. Got a second, Commissioner? Wilder. Now we'll have discussion. By the way, we need to change some of these names on here. I got some old commissioners' names on my, my category up here. Yeah. Commissioner Wynn, you had a question?
Yes, sir. Just for clarification, would this, if the legislature were to approve this, would this go into effect immediately this year, or would it wait to the next term of the next mayor after this 4-year term is up? And because I asked that question because if, for example, we wanted to have a raise for the commissioners, which we can't do basically, but I'm just using this as an example. I'd love to be able to, but we would probably not be able to give ourselves a raise. We'd have to wait for the next term for that raise to be in effect. So would this be in effect if the legislature approved it immediately, or would it wait to the next term of the next mayor?
Each piece of legislation considered by the General Assembly has an effective date, either upon signature or usually sets a date in July. And this would probably be no different. So I think it would be up to the General Assembly. This legislation's silent to that. It leaves it up to the body that would have to do this.
Or it leaves it up to the body to do what?
To set the effective date in the legislation that would do this in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, not here.
Yes, ma'am.
So is it possible they would say that it has to wait to the next term?
Yeah, it's possible.
Okay, just asking.
Thank you. Commissioner Bryant?
My question is, why was it 2 terms versus 3 terms for the commissioner? So why was that?
It's my understanding it was a relatively arbitrary decision, but it was done before everybody that's on this board was done. The term limits were set up in a pretty political fashion ahead of consolidation to make sure that some city council members wouldn't be able to serve for a long time on county commission, to be quite frank with you. And to the chagrin of the authors that did that didn't work out the way they wanted. Right, Commissioner Lucas?
So do we know what year it started? 2014.
The year of the consolidated
Consolidation
government.
year.
Yes.
Consolidation.
Commissioner Stewart?
Yes, I just wanted to bring forth this. I've talked to the mayor privately, and I told him this is nothing about him. My goal is always to think about the city of Macon, and if the contention of this order is to equalize, so to speak, everybody's terms, then I'm all for bringing the commission down to 2 terms and keeping the mayor at 2 terms. That meets your goal. So that's how I look at it. My concern is about future administrations going forward, because once this is done, it's in stone. It's there. So I highly recommend that this body votes no, and I highly recommend that our state legislation votes no as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bailey?
For the citizens that are also concerned about how long their county commissioners and their mayor will be with them, I feel that it's important that we review the facts as they stand. Under consolidated government, we are very few counties that have considered and have been successful at employing consolidated government. And for that fact, you know, we have been a model county here in Macon-Bibb County going forward for other counties to imitate what we've already done here in consolidated government. We have a lot of work ahead of us. So I, myself, will be looking forward to the 3 terms for the mayor, 3 terms as well for the county commissioners, so that the mayor is not without the commission that he trains. And I think that's very important to have the loyalty as well as the commitment going forward without changing hands, so that the mayor would be able to actually see his efforts go into fruition without any interruptions. And what I have witnessed since I was a commissioner and coming on to this staff is that when there is dissension, you know, it causes a lot of delays in work that could have been done and could have been moving forward successfully. And that is one thing that I don't want to happen again here in 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bailey. Commissioner Bronson?
All righty. Hey, y'all know me. So there's been a lot of discussion in regards to our plans moving forward on how we should operate as a body. My thought process, my internal being, should I say, is more so leaning toward keeping it the way it is. And the reason behind it is that when we say completing projects, which Mr. Mayor, I think you've done an amazing job as the mayor. I think this current body, respectfully to the newbies, has done an amazing job as well, working together, bridging the gap, working with our community leaders and so forth. The unique part about the 2-3 setup, meaning the mayor having 2 terms and the commissioners having 3 terms, is that you have an opportunity for it to kind of shift, right? When we start talking about the power shift, and I'm using that term loosely here, okay? The power shift, and in regards to the mayor being able to do what he needs to do in the 2 terms that he has, creating a succession plan, right? When you say train up, I really kind of cringe when you said the train up portion of it, but I get where you're coming from. And that's basically developing and empowering your commissioners to do their job that we were elected to do. So when you say, hey, we're going to put a 3 for 3, that kind of minimizes, in a sense, the authority and the ability for commissioners to do what we were elected to do, period. That gives all power to the chair, and I'm saying the chair as the mayor's seat, right? And in some cases, it makes sense to have that ability, right? To say, hey, look, let's move it forward. Let's push forward on what we got. This is the project we need to do. Let's go. But in some cases, you got to have that checks and balance. You got to have the checks and balances. So when we start talking about a 2 for 3, being the mayor having 2 terms and the commissioners having 3 terms, that allows that checks and balance to happen. And I'm sure from a military person, we understand the need for checks and balances. It's not about a person. It's not about a person at all. But for me, as a team lead, should I say, for my district, for this community, I want to ensure that we're doing the best that we can to incorporate checks and balances, fair treatment, and equality across the board. That's what I have on this end. So I encourage you guys to vote your conscience. If you feel as if you're a commissioner and you've done what you need to do and you're getting the support that you need, then by all means, you vote the way you feel you need to vote. But if you feel like, hey, there's more we can really do, then you make it known. That's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Ms. Wayne, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, sir, thank you. Again, I'm going to repeat what Commissioner Bronson just said. This is not against a person at all. This is just questions I have. I want to know. But there is something out there that would limit terms. It's called not re-electing somebody. So that's already available to us if you don't like the fact that there's a commissioner that has 3 4-year terms, which I will not be able to have, by the way, and or the mayor having 3 4-year terms. I just think, and you know, this kind of came across to all of us, really. I mean, the current mayor's been talking about it, but kind of came across kind of suddenly to me anyway. I just got this information, yesterday or day before, so I kind of wanted to think about it a little bit. There's been some good back and forth information here, so I just feel like maybe this is something we need to consider, not tonight, but table it and look at it next month. But that's just me.
Yeah, I would remind you, we have the legislators will be sworn in next week and the term starts then. So Commissioner Clark, we'll take the last call and we'll call for a vote.
I was just going to, time-wise, I completely understand the need to absorb the information. I think it's been talked about in the public sphere for a lot longer than the committee agenda's been posted. But more importantly is the schedule for when the legislature comes back. They have to have time to get this together and get going, and I think it's proper for the body one way or the other to weigh in beforehand. That's just my personal perspective. But I don't want to cut anybody off. I don't want to call, but I want to make sure that everybody's been able to say their piece.
Commissioner Wynn?
It was just my personal perspective too, just some questions for general information.
Thank you, Commissioner. This time we have a motion and second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Roll call vote. Commissioner Wynn, how do you vote? Abstain?
Dane? And
Yes,
I'm
okay.
well
I got you.
aware that.
We got you.
Okay.
Commissioner Bronson, how do you vote? Mr. Stewart, how do you vote? Hewitt, how you vote? Pro Tem, how you vote? Yes. Water, how you vote? Yes. Howard, how do you vote? Yes. Donese, how you vote? Ms. Brown, sorry. How do you vote? No? Ms. Bailey? Yes. Motion carries 6-3. Thank you. Abstain is a vote, positive vote. This time, that concludes all the business that we have on this agenda item tonight. We do have a commission meeting at 6 o'clock. There's no need to go into executive session, so this meeting is hereby adjourned.